Shalom, Akims. This is your Hebrew Israelite brother, Mashaba, here in the city of Detroit. And first and foremost, we'd like to give up all praises and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Radash, and a double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth. And peace and salutations unto you hopeful elects, and to you Akims and Akims that's out there waiting in the wings. You're eating this roll, and you're waiting on your opportunity to push this truth and to warn our people and to publish the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and to awaken the rest of the hopeful elects. I'm making this video concerning the butcher of Syria. Okay, the butcher of Syria over there in Russia. Putin, he just appointed a new general.
YouTube cast
to be
disconnected out of list.
The new leading general for
back button subscript library
leading
library
general
recently
to lead the campaign for the new Russian offensive that Putin is going to run on Ukraine now, seeing that his efforts to take over Kyiv was futile, but a lot of people died, okay, and a lot more too, because all this is judgment from what on high, from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, okay.
Nightly news full broadcast.
Let's take a look at this
Tonight,
video.
Russian forces ramping up for a major new offensive in eastern Ukraine. The intense firefight in the port city of Mariupol. Ukraine's President Zelensky saying tens of thousands of civilians have likely been killed there. Satellite images showing an 8-mile-long Russian convoy headed for Ukraine's eastern Donbass region. And the general known as the Butcher of Syria called in to lead Russia's troops into a deadly new phase of the war. Also tonight, the major U.S. city reinstating its indoor mask mandate as cases rise in nearly half the U.S. Is this the beginning of a spring surge? Severe storms threatening millions for the fourth week in a row, and a potentially historic blizzard taking aim. We're tracking it. Just in, the verdict in the second January 6 case to go to trial. This one involving an ex-officer. President Biden taking on untraceable ghost guns days after one was used to kill a 16-year-old girl in New York City. The new crackdown, he announced. The woman charged with a hate crime for falsely accusing a black teen of stealing her phone at a New York hotel, the plea deal she struck today. And attorneys on call, the new app that will get a lawyer on the line as you're being pulled over.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. Bloodied and humiliated by a smaller but more nimble Ukrainian military, Russia appears to be adjusting its aims tonight. A new commander with a reputation for ruthlessness, now in charge, known to some as the Butcher of Syria. Amid gathering signs, the eastern Donbass region may be next to suffer under a brutal Russian offensive. Word of Russian troops massing for attack has sent a crush of civilians evacuating the region before they suffer the fates of places like Mariupol, where Ukraine's president believes tens of thousands may have died, though there is no way to verify. President Zelensky pleading for even more firepower from the West and warning his citizens of an impending new push by the invaders, as each day brings more evidence of civilians being systematically targeted. Our Gabe Gutierrez is in Ukraine with the very latest.
This body camera video shows a firefight in the besieged southeastern city of Mariupol, where Ukraine's President Zelensky now says it's likely tens of thousands of people are dead, though that number cannot be verified. After its defeat around Kyiv, Russia is now shifting its assault east. Tonight, U.S. officials say they've seen efforts by the Russian military to resupply and reinforce their troops in the eastern Donbass region. The country's largest city in the east, Kharkiv, is seeing more deadly airstrikes. as satellite images show an ominous 8-mile-long Russian military convoy on the move near Kharkiv. President Zelensky over the weekend hosted British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and defiantly strolled through Kyiv, while Zelensky told CBS that President Biden and the U.S. are still not providing Ukraine with enough weapons to win.
Whether we will be able to survive depends on this, but unfortunately, I don't have the confidence that we will be receiving everything we need.
In the suburbs of Kyiv, after Russian forces retreated, a clearer picture of the destruction is emerging. The death toll is rising, now topping 400. Here in Bucha, a painstaking recovery is underway. Forensic investigators are still exhuming the bodies from this mass grave, and war crimes prosecutors are on the scene. Today, Sasha Koshevnikov came to pay respects to his good friend who was buried here. He also tells us his father-in-law died of hunger. I want the world to know that this is genocide, he says. Among those rounded up by Russian troops was Dmytro Grebchenko, an advisor to the city council here. He says his hands were tied behind his back and he was held at gunpoint.
You were held right here.
He was told that if he tried to escape, Russian snipers would shoot him. He did it anyway when he thought the troops weren't looking. During the harrowing Russian occupation, he says he personally knows at least 10 people who were killed. It's very difficult to understand how these things could be happening in the 21st century, he says. How could they shoot a man who was trying to escape with his family? Tonight in Bucha, there are many such questions, but few answers.
Gabe, the scale and horror of all this continues to reveal itself, and we understand President Zelensky is warning his people of a dangerous new chapter.
Yes, he says that the Russians are sending a colossal amount of equipment east. Also, the Russians have appointed a new ground commander, known as the Butcher of Syria. He led Russian forces there, where civilians were targeted and cities were reduced to rubble, Lester.
All right, Gabe, thank you. In the meantime, the UN is investigating reports of sexual violence by Russian forces in Bucha and in other cities across Ukraine. Under international law, rape and sexual assault are considered war crimes. Molly Hunter now with a harrowing account from one woman accusing a Russian soldier of rape.
28-year-old Olena and her husband Sasha were living in Hostomel when the war started. In early March, while she was out looking for water, Olena was captured by Russian troops, she says, held hostage in a one-room apartment for 2 days. But it was about to get even worse. Starting the moment she was hit by a piece of burning metal shrapnel, that's Olena's day one.
Video player. Double tap to show controls. Can you describe the play video?
These are the things that are happening over there in Russia right now. You know, they're raping the women.
Play video.
And the children. And the children.
She was in so much pain that on day 2, by Olena's timeline, she went looking for first aid. Russian soldiers occupying her town said they could help.
They lied to her. They lied.
Olena is thin, with a slight build. We're not showing her full face. She and her husband were very poor even before the war broke out. They have a 7-year-old daughter, they tell me. She's with relatives. On Olena's day 3, Russian soldiers offering medical aid again changed her bandages, she says.
So now we're at day 4. What happens day 4?
She tells us 3 different soldiers came to their house dressed in civilian clothes, saying they were there to help. She has no idea how they knew she was wounded. One of them, a Russian speaker, said he could take a look at her wound, she says, taking her upstairs. So she went back downstairs. Medics tell us her husband had at least 1 broken rib. And the following morning, on day 5, the soldier who had been upstairs with Olena returned.
Ну, со мною все нормально, говорю. Не треба, говорю, мене дивитися, говорю. Говорю, глянь мужа, говорю. Він навіть не став його дивитися. Я говорю, сразу говорю, ну, може, мужа оглянеш. Він сразу до мене почав. Налякана дуже була.
She made a run for it, arriving home in tears. Afraid the Russian soldiers might return, they fled to this area of Bucha, which is where we met them.
Are you angry? Have you even had time to process? Бог йому суддя. Бог його суд.
Molly Hunter, NBC News, Kyiv.
Pause video. Button. Play video.
These are the things,
Home.
the atrocities
Button.
that are happening over there in
One UI home. Search. In pager.
Ukraine right now. But all this is, part of judgment.
Voice search.
And so
Button.
now, because by them having this new general, Putin appointing a new general known as the butcher of Syria, well, what are the tactics that he's going to use? So we thought we'd look that up.
Here are your results for what does the Bible say about the butcher of Syria?
You see, and it straight goes off into that concerning Damascus and what happened. What is Isaiah 17 talking about? Okay.
Expanded.
In fact, the summary, here we go. Summarizing Isaiah chapter 17 because this talking about Damascus, a city in Syria. Okay. 17 by explaining that it was a message of doom. A message of doom for Damascus. Remember, Damascus is the capital city of Syria. Now, he went into Syria and butchered Syria. That's what this guy did, this new general. And so the same thing he's going to do to who? The city that they're going to, the eastern part of Ukraine. And for the northern kingdom, okay, the northern kingdom of Israel. Israel prophesied that these two nations would be conquered and scattered by the Assyrian army. Okay. See also Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5 through 6. Okay. Okay. And so these are the things that are about to occur.
Lesson 120, Isaiah 17:23, heading 3 link.
Let's check out what this is talking about.
5% progress bar, web view, Chrome, 57%, 70%, 70%, 70%, 72%.
Okay, this is...
Isaiah prophesied that the Israelites would be scattered because they had forgotten God. He also prophesied of the ensign, raised up in the beginning of the last dispensation, the restoration and establishment of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and of the Church's role in gathering scattered Israel from many nations. Additionally, Isaiah testified of the future Davidic king, even the Messiah, and taught about Jesus Christ's power to deliver the oppressed and about the universal nature of the atonement.
Get off this.
Back. Google. Selected. All. Back. One UI home. Voice search. Button. What is the Bible? Here are your results. Isaiah 17.
Let's see what commentaries that they have. Let's see that first. Isaiah chapter, okay. Original. Yeah, see, because that's what's about to happen over there in Ukraine right now. Okay, because the time has come when these things that are happening are happening. They're prophesied to happen.
Chrome, 30%,
that means
80%.
that Damascus being a city in the capital city of Syria, it was the butcher. Remember Saul, before he became Paul, he was known also as a butcher of those there, which were considered Christians then at that time. They were in fact Israelites. Okay, being persecuted. by Paul in Damascus. And the neighboring northern kingdom, that too was also ransacked. Okay, and the king, the leading tribe, Ephraim, okay, was also chased out along with the rest of the northern tribes, okay, of the northern kingdom. Let's look and see what this commentary is talking about. First, let's go to this.
Isaiah 17, the burden against Syria and Israel. Heading 1.
Okay, the burden against Syria and Israel. Okay, and so maybe what this is trying to, the Lord is telling us about what's going on over there now is that this new butcher of Syria, this guy is going to go over there, the general, he's going to do a lot of slaughtering over there in the eastern cities of Ukraine. Okay, around this same time, we can expect for some incidents, some international situations that happen with the land, Russia over there, those Israelis, okay, as well as things that happen for who? Us over here, us Israelites over here, okay, of the northern kingdom that's been scattered over here, okay, which could mean what? That could mean Putin might decide to set off an EMP over America because he has that supersonic missile, that supersonic rocket that he has that can't be detected or stopped. He can put a nuclear warhead on that, launch it over America 300 miles up. Once that detonates, that would automatically bring about an EMP, electromagnetic pulse detonation, which would automatically shut down all the transformers in America and all the micro transformers. America wouldn't have no electricity. That would also affect the natural gas valves for natural gas, and it would also affect the valves for and pumps for the water irrigation system and the sewage system. Okay, everything would be on shutdown. This would also affect planes, helicopters, trains, motor vehicles, cars, trucks. It would also so that would mean all distribution and deliveries would be halted, as well as computer switchboards would be halted. ATM machines, okay, would not be working. All that would be over with. Okay, people's food perishing and spoiling. Okay, because there wouldn't be no electricity, and the majority of America is not prepared for lights out. I seen the movie years ago called American Blackout. It gives a neat illustration as to what can and will occur during the time of an actual blackout of America's electricity being shut off, because the majority of everything that operates here in America is by electricity. All the computerized switchboards and everything, it runs on electricity. And so these are the things that that are about to happen. Let's go on further.
A prophecy of doom upon Syria and Israel. Heading 3.
You see, a doom of prophecy upon Israel and Syria. Okay. Because so what's about to happen? This means that things are about to escalate even more. Not only over there in Ukraine, but worldwide. Okay, that's what this means.
1. 1-6. The Lord speaks to Damascus and Ephraim. Heading 4.
You see, the Lord speaks to Damascus and Ephraim. Ultimately, what's being done over there in Ukraine, this startup of World War III, is ultimately under the orders and commands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Okay, on the left-hand side, because these are things that must occur, must happen for the prophecies to unfold.
The burden against Damascus. Behold, Damascus will cease from being a city, and it will be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They will be for flocks, which lie down, and no one will make them afraid. The fortress also will cease from Ephraim, the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They will be as the glory of the children of Israel, says the Lord of hosts. In that day it shall come to pass, that the glory of Jacob will wane, and the fatness of his flesh grow lean. It shall be as when the harvester gathers the grain, and reaps the heads with his arm. It shall be as he who gathers heads of grain, in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaning grapes will be left in it, like the shaking of an olive tree. 2 or 3 olives at the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in its most fruitful branches, says the Lord God of Israel.
You see, these are the things that are about to happen worldwide. It's not just a Ukrainian situation. And see, and that's what a lot of the countries right now, if they were to go into action, the European Union, the Ten Horns, okay, and NATO, the Beast, okay. I mean, really seriously go into action, the Great Whore, America, really go into action right now. It would only escalate World War III to occur, to be more intense right now. When here it is, it's waning right now, and being in such a way where it's approach, okay, upon the world. Okay, it's gonna be all of a sudden things are gonna be completely intense worldwide. Because remember the sanctions that America is placing on Russia is holding no effect. The Bible tells us that they will have no regards for silver or gold, and no regards for children, the babies, the fruit of the womb. Okay, so these are the things that's happening right now.
Damascus, this was one of the great cities of the ancient world and the capital of the ancient nation of Syria. Syria is positioned to the immediate northeast of Israel, and the northern tribes around the Sea of Galilee had constant contact and interaction with Syria.
You see, constant contact with Syria. Okay, and so the time is coming. When one thing is happening to one, also the start of happening to the other, to the next. So with this situation happening over in Russia right now, concerning Ukraine, again, it is only the prelude about concerning what's about to happen worldwide. You see, and that's what I'm trying to make clear. This is something that's not just situated. This new general, he's about to lead a show enough devastating offensive against the eastern part of Ukraine, and it's going to spill over into the ten horns. The European Union. Okay, Poland may be hit next. Okay, and which is going to lead to who? America, the great whore that sits upon the beast, NATO, are going to have to be drawn in. Okay, to do even more. Again, World War III is about to become intense greatly. Let's read.
See, the fortress will also cease from Ephraim, as is often the case. The northern kingdom of Israel is referred to by its dominant tribe, Ephraim. At this time, Israel and Syria were closely aligned against Judah. Since they were such close friends, God announced his judgment against Ephraim, against Israel. At the same time, he spoke to Syria.
You see?
2 Kings 15:29 and 16:9 describe the fulfillment of this prophecy.
You see, since Ephraim and Syria had close ties, right? Okay? And so this means Yahweh decided that he would announce his judgment against Ephraim, against Israel, at the same time he spoke to Syria. Boom! At the same time he spoke to Syria. Okay? And what we got, this new general, the butcher of Syria, known as the butcher of Syria, he's about to take the helms. Okay, so this is Yahweh on the left-hand side letting everybody know. This is also a warning. This is also a warning to who? Ephraim. Okay, Jerusalem, the northern kingdom. Okay, the 10 tribes. Okay, so this means this is about to be a worldwide situation because the 10 tribes are scattered worldwide. Okay, and so, and it makes it clear in 2 Kings chapter 15 through chapter 15, verse 29, and 16, verse 9, against the fulfillment of this prophecy. Okay, these are prophecy of things to come. Okay, let's read on further.
Israel's modern interaction with Syria is interesting and a potential hotspot for future conflict. When Syria occupied the Golan Heights, a strategically crucial high plateau above the whole region of Galilee, Israel was under constant threat of invasion and shelling from Syrian placements on the Golan. But when Syria eventually made a full-on invasion of Israel from the Golan, Israel miraculously beat them back and captured the Golan Heights. Since then, Syria has often insisted that this strategically crucial region is theirs and must be given back. The Israelis are adamant that they will never give back land that belongs to them and is necessary for their security. In the meantime, Syria has often fought Israel through terrorism and their support of militia groups in Lebanon. The dream of a greater Syria encompassing Syria, Lebanon, and parts of northern Israel is a powerful influence in the Syrian leadership.
You see, it's a lot of conflict, a lot of bloodshed that's about to happen. And there's not anything that anybody can do to stop it. This is something that's only going to intensify. Only, you see.
2. 7-9. The humble response to the judgment of the Lord. Heading 4.
The humble response.
In that day a man will look to his Maker, and his eyes will have respect for the Holy One of Israel. He will not look to the altars, the work of his hands. He will not respect what his fingers have made, nor the wooden images nor the incense altars. In that day his strong cities will be as a forsaken bough, and an uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel. And there will be desolation.
You see? And there will be desolation. And the blacks that's over there in Ukraine, they were refused. They were not allowed to be able to board the trains with the white Ukrainians. Okay. And the news media is not covering any of that. We talking about blacks, we talking about Africans, and this would encompass. This would also mean, Israelites. Okay, and because a lot of our people, Israelites, fled over into Africa, so a lot of those Africans that are there in Ukraine right now are Israelites. And they were rejected. Okay, Esau rejected them. Okay, and was beating the blacks that tried to board the train. They were being beat and pushed back, whipped and beat. While the Ukrainians, the white Ukrainians, they were so-called white Ukrainians, were allowed to gather there at the train stations, okay, and board the train. Remember, there's a large number of Nazisms that's within the Ukrainian people, and even greater number inside the Ukrainian military and their troops. A lot of Nazis, Nazi behavior, racism. And so what this means, the attack that happened on the train station that killed around 54 people, so this was judgment by Yahweh. Judgment by Yahweh by Shem Yahushai upon those that were there. Okay, the so-called white Ukrainian people. Okay, because of what they've been doing as a whole. Remember, Yahweh judges the whole nations. He judges whole nations. He's not concerned particularly about just judging just specifically those that are prejudiced over there, and that's consumed with Nazisms over there. Okay, he's concerned with judging the whole nation. That's what's happening over there. That's why he's bringing in the butcher of Syria. Because as we come to understand, Ukraine is about to be annihilated over there. Their forces are about to be annihilated, and of course, Biden, America, and NATO. Of course, they're not giving enough weaponry. It's being held back by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, because what is to happen in Ukraine is supposed to happen. Okay, and so. Because Russia is gathering back its nation, itself, gathering back its people, taking back its territory, which is Ukraine. Okay, and so it's bringing itself back together and restoring its own ancient landmarks. Okay, and boundaries and borders. Okay, so these are the things that's occurring over there. Okay, right now. Okay, right now. Let's go further.
In that day, a man will look to his maker and his
I think we read that already. Let's go down further.
see his strong cities will be as a forsaken bough. In judgment, God would strip away from Israel every wrong thing they might have trusted in pagan altars, wooden images, incense altars, and even their strong cities would give no protection. Their only hope was in the Lord.
You see, the only hope is in the Lord at this point for any and all that's happening right now.
When the Israelites came into the land of Canaan many years before, the strong cities of the land were abandoned to them. However, the situation has changed, and the same cities will be abandoned by the Israelites themselves, as they are under the judging hand of God. Grogan.
You see, these are things that are happening. Okay.
3. 10-11. God's judgment will bring man's work to nothing. Heading 4.
You see, and that's what's about to happen. All that's been built up and hyped up over there in Ukraine, and the different things that they've done to establish themselves and be so strong over there, it's all being brought to nothing. It's the same thing that's about to encompass the whole world. Okay, but this whole Edomite queendom, okay, is about to be destroyed. Okay, it's about to be destroyed,
YouTube.
and there's nothing that can be done to
YouTube. 2 of 3.
stop
Showing item 2 of
this
3.
judgment that is occurring at this time. And so that's what the real deal is.
Screen recorder.
So I just wanted to make
3.
this video.
Showing
I'm
items
gonna
2
cut
to
it off
3 of
right
3.
here. I didn't want to make the video too long. So cause when I'm watching somebody else's video, I don't like for their videos to be too long. Okay, unless they really show enough, giving forth some that knowledge. Okay, these proper teachings. So I'm gonna cut the video off right here. And if you like my videos, press the like, and remember to press subscribe as well. Okay. And so these are the things that's going on over there, and it's about to go worldwide, and people had to prepare themselves and get ready. America is not ready for what's about to happen. You got a lot of people that are over here, the young people, they're going to have to be drafted. They're going to have to be drafted, forced to fight against the enemy, and as well as the martial law troops. They're going to be hitting the neighborhoods within the inner cities here within America. It's a lot of atrocities and a lot of different things that are about to occur right here in America, because it's judgment time. It's judgment time. So this is your Hebrew Israelite brother Mashaba here in the city of Detroit. Thank you for watching my videos. Press the like and press the subscribe, and stay tuned. Keep yourself alert and aware, as to what's going on. Continue being a good watchman. Okay, 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 5. Be watchful of all things. Endure the afflictions. Do the work of an evangelist and show full proof of thy ministry. Okay. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakakwadash.
Intern. As screen recorder. Record. Button out of list. Record.